There once was a boy who walked with his head down, his voice a broken whisper. He grew up in the shadow of judgment, believing he was small, insignificant. Every laugh felt like an arrow, every stare a heavy weight. His world was defined by the walls he built around his heart, a fortress of shyness and deep insecurity. One day, his father, a man of harsh words and high expectations, looked at him with disappointment. "You will never amount to anything," he said. The words were simple, yet they shattered what little confidence the boy had left. They echoed in the silence of his room, confirming every dark thought he had about himself. He felt utterly broken, convinced he was a failure. In the grip of this despair, he made a terrible choice. He drove his car with no destination, his mind a storm of self-loathing. A moment of distraction, a turn too fast, and the world went dark. He had made a mistake, a tragic error that landed him in a hospital bed, his body as broken as his spirit. He had lost all hope. Convinced his life was worthless, he decided to end it. He found himself on a bridge, staring down into the cold, dark water below. The world felt distant, muted. Just as he was about to let go, a gentle hand rested on his shoulder. He turned to see a wise old man, his eyes full of a kindness the boy had never known. The old man didn't preach or judge. He simply said true courage is not the absence of fear, but the will to rise one more time. The old man saw the flicker of life still burning within the boy's soul. He offered him a path, not to escape fear, but to walk through it. He gave him 3 challenges, 3 steps to rebuild the courage that had been stolen from him. The first challenge was to speak. "Go to the city square," the old man said, "and speak to 10 strangers every day for a week. Ask them for the time, or a simple direction. Let them hear your voice." The boy's heart pounded. His palms grew slicked with sweat. The thought of speaking to strangers was terrifying, but the old man's steady gaze gave him a sliver of strength. On the first day, his voice trembled. He could barely form the words. Most people walked past, but a few stopped. A woman smiled and told him the time. A man pointed him toward the library. Each small interaction was a victory. Each spoken word chipped away at the silence that had imprisoned him. He was learning that his voice had power, that it could connect him to the world instead of hiding him from it. He was beginning to find his sound. The second challenge was to teach. "Go to the local community center," the old man instructed, "and volunteer to teach children how to read." The boy's old insecurities flared. What could he possibly teach? He felt he knew nothing of value. He was a failure, a fraud. Yet, he remembered the old man's words about rising one more time. He walked into the classroom, his hands shaken. The children looked up at him with wide, curious eyes. They didn't see his insecurity. They only saw someone there to help them. As he sat with them, pointing 2 letters and sounding out words, something shifted. He wasn't focused on his own perceived flaws. He was focused on helping them. In their small successes, he found a new sense of purpose. He realized his worth was not defined by what he knew, but by his willingness to share what he had. He was overcoming the fear of not being good enough. The third and final challenge was the hardest. "Go to your father," the old man said softly. "Look him in the eye and apologize, not for who you are, but for giving up on yourself." This was his deepest fear. Facing the man whose words had broken him felt impossible. It was easier to face 100 strangers, 1,000 children. But he knew this was the final wall he had to tear down. He stood before his father, his heart a drum against his ribs. He took a deep breath, and the words came out, quiet but clear. "I'm sorry," he said. "Not for disappointing you, but for believing I was a disappointment. I gave up on myself." He saw a flicker of surprise, then something else in his father's eyes, a hint of respect, of regret. In that moment, the boy understood. His father's words only had power because he had allowed them to. The real enemy was never his father. It was never his shyness. It was fear. Fear had been the true prison. Fear of judgment. Fear of failure. Fear of not being loved. And with that realization, the chains fell away. He saw that confidence was not a gift you are born with. It is a muscle you build, one small, courageous act at a time. It is built in the trembling voice that dares to speak. It is built in the uncertain hand that reaches out to help. It is built in the brave heart that chooses to face its deepest pain. The young man who left his father's house that day was not the same boy who had entered. He walked with his head held high, his gaze steady. The journey was not over, but he now had a compass. Courage. He started a small business. Applying the same principles, he took small steps, faced small fears, and celebrated small wins. He spoke to clients with the same quiet strength he'd found with strangers. He led his team with the same purpose he'd discovered with the children. Years passed. The timid boy became a respected leader, a successful businessman known for his integrity and quiet strength. He learned that the path from shyness to self-belief is paved with action. It is about taking that first trembling step, and then another, and another. It is about understanding that you are not your fear. You are the one who faces it. True, unshakable confidence is forged in the fires of your greatest fears. It is not loud or arrogant. It is a quiet, powerful knowing that you have the strength to handle whatever comes your way. It is the belief, earned through struggle, that you are enough. Remember, Tis, you are not born with confidence. You, bel Italiano, every time you choose to face what scares you, you lay another stone in the foundation of your own inner fortress. You discover a strength you never knew you had. Rise, face your fear, and in doing so, you will find yourself. Thank you for watching. If this story resonated with you, subscribe for more content to help you build your own unshakable confidence.